Hi, Korede here. In the last video, I was able to show one of the reasons why Muslims should not use ChatGPT for Dawah. Because we're able to see that ChatGPT eventually admitted to the fact that there are difference in the different version of the Quran. We take a look at Quran chapter 3, verse 146, the case of Qatala and Kutila. And we see that there's a difference between fighting and killing. Now, in the comment section, a couple of people were asking and suggesting some questions that you actually ask them ChatGPT. And I pick up one of the questions that I'm going to be asking ChatGPT today. And that is the question of the historicity of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. We know that according to the Bible, Jesus was actually crucified. And then we also know that according to the Quran, Quran chapter 4, verse 157, we're told that it is wama kataluhu wama salabuhu walakin shubi Allahum, meaning that it was only made to appear to them so. Jesus was not crucified. So what I'm going to be doing today is to ask ChatGPT if indeed historically Jesus was crucified or not. So if you're joining us for the very first time, please, I want to actually encourage you to subscribe to this channel. If you're watching on TikTok, YouTube, maybe Facebook or Instagram, make sure that you actually follow us because we have a lot of content we're going to be sharing with you, especially if you're interested in ministering to the Muslims. All right, so let's head over to ask ChatGPT about the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Hello, ChatGPT.
Got it. I'm here. How can I help?
Okay, great. Thank you. So I have a question for you today. Do you mind?
Of course not. What's your question?
Okay, great. Now, according to the Bible, according to the Christian tradition, Jesus was actually crucified. But then, apart from looking at what the Bible actually says about the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, are there historical evidence outside of the Bible that attests to the fact that Jesus was actually crucified?
Yes, there are historical sources outside of the Bible that mention Jesus' crucifixion. One notable source is the Roman historian Tacitus, who wrote about Jesus' execution under Pontius Pilate during the reign of Emperor Tiberius. Another reference comes from the Jewish historian Josephus, who mentions Jesus' death in his work Antiquities of the Jews. These references are often cited by scholars as supporting the historicity of Jesus' crucifixion.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So that means aside of the Bible, we have historical evidence that actually point to the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, right?
Yes, exactly. Those historical references from Tacitus and Josephus, among a few others, support the accounts of Jesus' crucifixion outside of Christian scriptures. They provide additional historical context that many scholars consider when studying the history of that period.
Hmm. So you did mention that there are other historical evidence apart from the one of Tacitus and Josephus. Are you saying there are other historical evidence that support the historicity of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ?
In addition to Tacitus and Josephus, there are a few other references that some scholars consider relevant. For example, the Roman writer Phlegon, who mentioned an unusual darkness during the time of Jesus' crucifixion, though this reference is less direct. Additionally, there are mentions of Jesus in some early Christian writings outside of the canonical texts, like those of the early church fathers. However, the references from Tacitus and Josephus are among the most cited by historians for their historical significance.
Great. Thank you for that. Now, the Quran actually says that Jesus was not crucified. Okay. Is there any evidence for the historical claim? I mean, because the Quran actually says in Quran chapter 4, verse 157, is there an historical evidence to the claim of the Quran that Jesus was not crucified?
The claim in the Quran that Jesus was not crucified is a religious belief held within Islam. From a historical perspective, the majority of secular historians and scholars agree that Jesus was indeed crucified based on various historical sources, including those from Roman and Jewish historians. The Quran presents a different theological perspective, which is based on faith and religious teachings rather than historical documentation. So, while there are different beliefs about this event, the historical evidence commonly accepted by scholars supports the crucifixion of Jesus as a historical event.
Hmm. So are you telling me right now that what Quran says in Quran chapter 4 verse 157 is basically a religious belief and nothing with evidence from history?
Yes, the Quranic verse in question represents a religious belief within Islam. Historical evidence for events like the crucifixion of Jesus is typically evaluated through historical and archaeological research. Different religious traditions may have varying accounts and interpretations of historical events, and beliefs are often based on faith and religious teachings. While many scholars agree on the historical evidence for the crucifixion, beliefs about it can differ among different faiths.
Thank you for your answer, ChatGPT. Quite appreciate that. All right, folks, there you have it. So ChatGPT is saying right here that we have historical evidence that backs up the crucifixion of Jesus Christ outside of the Bible, meaning that apart from what the Bible is saying, we have evidence that actually points to the fact that Jesus was indeed crucified. And this is backed by history. On the other hand, in Quran chapter 4, verse 157, Allah says that it is shubia lahum, meaning that it is only made to appear to them so. ChatGPT actually said that this particular claim lacks any form of historical evidence or backing. It is basically a religious belief. Now, if you're a Muslim who depends on ChatGPT to propagate Islam, you will see that this is actually a bad one. And that is the reason why I'm not going to encourage you to use ChatGPT to promote the religion of Islam. Now, as a Christian, do I base my faith and belief on ChatGPT? Not at all. I actually look into the historical evidence for my faith and also some other evidence that actually shows what my faith is all about. I don't need to depend on ChatGPT to say that my faith is actually credible. And this is the danger for depending on ChatGPT as a Muslim to promote, the faith of Islam. Now, if you're joining us again for the very first time, make sure not to forget to subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell so that when we release a video, you are going to get them. Thank you very much, Korede here. Over and out.